Colin Cowherd is an absolute low IQ clown. This guy doesn't know a effing thing about football. He is an embarrassment. Fox needs to fire this idiot. I am so sick of this crap. Oh man, deep breath. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all your support. Do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. So we got to talk about this. Look, man, this is in no way a defense of the way Jalen Hurts played. I covered all that in another video. He did not play well this past game. There's no doubt about that. But of course, the absolute idiots in media like Colin Cowherd are going to say some of the dumbest things that'll be flat out lies because they have no idea what they're talking about. They just know that they hate Jalen Hurts. So let's dig into some of these things that little Collie said very recently. And then we're going to break it down. I'm going to show you that he's flat out wrong, which means no one should be listening to this moron.
One thing, let's stop arguing about this. One thing that
Oh, we will. We will once we rip you apart.
has become obvious for Jalen Hurts. He is a circumstances quarterback. If the O-line's perfectly healthy, if the offensive coordinator is great, if Saquon Barkley is having an amazing night or season, if the defense is number one like last year, he's really successful. Justin Herbert's doing it with no ifs. Some quarterbacks are hot air balloons. They're dependent on the weather. Justin Herbert and some quarterbacks are fighter pilots. Just give me the coordinates. I like Jalen Hurts. Intangibles A++. But the Eagles have now lost 5 straight games when they asked Jalen Hurts to just throw 30 times. Just 30. Last night he had to throw 40 times and became the only quarterback to have 2 turnovers on one play. The Eagles have a head coach that is entirely dependent on offensive coordinators and a quarterback that's dependent on mostly a perfect setting. Last year's Super Bowl, Colin, last year's Super Bowl, oh, give me a break. They won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. This is a general manager, owner first franchise. One thing.
You gotta love the condescending arrogance from this little frick. Seriously, I am so pissed. I'm trying to stay under control because I'm so pissed off and disgusting with this absolute effing clown. Nothing he said is true. This man has what, millions of dollars, I'm guessing. He's got all these people that research for him, and he goes into this completely unprepared, doesn't know a damn thing on the subject on which he's spouting off nonsense, but he's going to act like he knows what he's talking about. He's going to be condescending. He's going to be arrogant, and he's going to be completely wrong. And this is what I mean about the media. And I'll give you even some numbers. What that looked like, the stuff that he just said there at the end about throwing 30 plus times. He's completely wrong about. He's 100% wrong. He couldn't do the most basic of research, and there is zero excuse for that. You act like this man should not be on television. Well, let's talk about little Justin. He threw 2 picks and lost a fumble on Monday night. He threw 4 picks at a playoff game just last year. By the way, he's never won a playoff game. Mahomes threw 3 picks at home on Sunday Night Football. Lamar just had a 3-turnover game on Thanksgiving. I believe Stafford had a 3-turnover loss last weekend. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But the only quarterback we ever talk about when they have a bad game is Jalen Hurts. Every QB in the NFL is dependent on talent, right? Football is the ultimate team game. The ultimate team game. Baseball, and I love baseball, but it's not the ultimate team game. Yeah, you got to do certain things. Maybe you're asked to bunt or what have you, but it's a bunch of individuals, really, right? Hurts never complains about his coordinators, despite all the nonsense he gets, despite the fact that they change every single season. We have seen, because I have shown it repeatedly all single season long, wide receivers that don't run their routes with effort. If Hurts was sacked 7 times, if he held on to the ball and had less than 50% completion percentage, threw for like 130 some yards with a 4 point something yards per attempt average, right? I mean, I think that's what's wild about this. Justin Herbert actually had a worse game. Yeah, you could say, oh, well, the turnovers are a little more for Jalen, sure. But he actually had a worse game than Jalen Hurts. I mean, let's take a quick look. 12 of 26 for 139 yards. Threw a pick, fumbled twice. 4.3 yards per attempt. I'm sorry, 5.3 yards per attempt. That's your fighter pilot? Guy who's never won a playoff game, and he's 12 of 26 in today's NFL. That's your fighter pilot? Really? Now, about that Chargers defense, this is what I mean about Colin not even doing any of the most basic research. Chargers defense is a top 10 defense. It's ninth in points allowed, fourth in yards allowed, um, fifth in yards passing allowed, 14th in yards rushing allowed, and like I said, fourth overall. This is a top 10 defense. But apparently, Justin doesn't have everything. He's all by himself. So none of this is true. We know that nothing has been perfect for Philadelphia this year. They started out that way, despite Jalen actually carrying them early in the season. Saquon Barkley has been non-existent. The offensive line has been terrible all season long. There's been no run game. The defense has been bottom 10 for I'd say at least half the season, and they're still 8-5. And a lot of that success early on, we going to talk about the fact that a lot of that was off the script plays from Jalen Hurts? And let's get into this 30 passes stuff, right? How many times have the Eagles been down and Jalen say, "Hey, you know what? We're going to win this," and they go and do it on an imperfect night? I know he set a record for it in 2023 when Saquon couldn't be awesome. Jalen Hurts carried him to a Super Bowl victory. Oh, here's the other thing, and this is what I mean about lack of research and just being slave to a narrative that you want to spout because you hate Jalen Hurts. Jalen, I believe, is 22 and 12 when passing 30 or more times. And by the way, when you're passing 30 or more times, usually, not always. I mean, I know there are teams that are, you know, that is their foundation. But a lot of times, especially if you're the Eagles who believe in running the football and always have, by the way, you're losing, right? So that's why you're running more. But for some reason, we're always expecting more from Jalen Hurts. I would say no, you expect the impossible from Jalen Hurts. Howard Eskin even said after that monster game that Jalen Hurts had where he threw for 326 yards, had a perfect passer rating, and Howard Eskin goes on to tell us about how well that passer rating, that's a dumb stat, right? Allen has had 3 interception and fumble game. Lamar's had 3 interception games, multiple games. We've had a guy that set multiple Super Bowl records. Oh, and one more thing, and this is what I mean. This is exposes. This is what I mean. Colin Cowherd is forget even just like that is his opinion and how stupid he sounds. Just he's a fraud. Okay, he's a fraud. You heard what he said at the end about Jalen Hurts, then the team from behind, and when they're throwing 30 times and all that. I'm sorry you can't see this. For some reason it gets smaller, not bigger. I don't think I can blow this up, but best winning percentage when attempting 30 plus passes since 1970, minimum 30 games. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, Jalen Hurts. Again, best winning percentage when attempting 30 or more passes since 1970. And by the way, I'm sorry, it's 23 and 11, not 22 and 12. Minimum 30 games. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, Jalen Hurts. Colin, you need seriously, I don't understand. Fox, you need to fire this guy. He needs to apologize or something. How do you not know this? How do you go on and you spout this nonsense? Best winning percentage when trailing by 10 plus points, starting QBs since 1950. Patrick Mahomes, Otto Graham, Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady. Best winning percentage when trailing by 10 plus points. Starting QB since 1950. Patrick Mahomes, Otto Graham, Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady. Highest total QBR in one score games, including playoffs. I believe these are just current quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, number one, then Patrick Mahomes, then Joe Burrow. Jalen Hurts' pocket passing stats since the 2022 NFL season. Completion percentage, first in the NFL. Passing yards, third in the NFL. Touchdowns, seventh in the NFL. Yards per attempt, third in the NFL. Passer rating, second in the NFL. Get bent, Colin. I mean, it's I get it. If you want to come on and say, "Hey, hello, I'm a little bitch who can't stand Jalen Hurts, so I'm going to spout a bunch of nonsense and get into my feels because I'm a very emotional person. I'm not going to bother to fact check anything. It's all about how I feel about what I think about Jalen Hurts." You need to leave that. You need to put that disclaimer before you start talking. Otherwise, you really ought to sit down, shut up, and let the people who know what they're talking about have these conversations. As you said, we don't need to argue about this anymore. You are wrong. You're proven to be wrong. You are an absolute fraud. Absolute fraud. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out the video. As always, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you in another video.